a major horror story, but just wondered your opinion on this as someone who uploads games to YouTube. I was looking on the DnD Discord for games to join and reached out to someone whose game matched my availability. I asked him if he still had space open and told me, yes, but you must first understand that I record all my sessions for YouTube. So if you don't give me consent to upload these and have ownership of these videos, then this game is not for you. I thought this was kind of a cool thing. It'd be great to look back on sessions, and as someone with their own YouTube and Twitch, I thought it would be a reciprocal thing. I play in his games, so there's something to upload, and my social media will be linked to drive traffic to my channels if people want it. So I said, sure. I assume my username would be somewhere on the page or in the description. The instant response is, no. You will be referred to by your character name, and that is all. Bro, just do the shout out.
I need to credit the person who helped me with this video, who put in just as much work as I did on hosting it. This is truly a Herculean task. I do not know how I will accomplish it. I haven't taken a potato chip and eaten it today. How will I push through my laziness?
Yeah, this is too much work.
Thanks, but no thanks. I'm not interested in just being used for your views. Blocked and moved on. I honestly don't get creators like this. It takes so little effort to link the socials of the people you're working with. Literally 5 seconds. And it could make a little bit of a difference for them. So why not? What's the problem? I'm glad he asked for consent at least. That's good. We've seen people record other people without permission, which is just rude. So, you know, at least he got that going for him, even if he couldn't follow through with being a good person in the end. I started playing D&D for real the summer after lockdown started. I wanted to start the hobby for a long time, but never had the kick I needed to start looking for a group before then. Living in a small town, there weren't many people to play with, so I went to Roll20 to find an online group. Also, being in a non-American time zone, I had few options to choose from, but I found one LFG page that seemed okay. I became part of the group, and we did play for a long time together. Only thing with the group is that I am the only girl and wanted more interaction with other ladies. So I then went to look for a second group to play with. This time, I had a dedicated tabletop role-playing game Discord server to look with. And I did find another group. This group ended up with 8 players at the end. The number is not the horror story. Somehow, advocate for smaller groups. 8 is barely at the tolerable range. To be fair, I don't really have an exact equation for the tolerable range. I kind of hate math, so I'll get back to you on that. We did play together for many sessions. I even paid for internet on a ship so I could play with them while on holiday. Players left to do things in their life, and new ones came and took their place. In the end, we had reached a point where the DM needed a break, and we would go on a hiatus. The next session would wrap things up. So the day of our last session came, and we players gathered in the voice call. We had our life talk before the session, like we had every time before. The DM hadn't shown up yet, and the time was getting closer and closer to when we were supposed to start. We players were commenting on the DM being later than usual, but we weren't seeing any huge red flag. The start time came and went, and still, no Dungeon Master. Now the players are wondering if everything is alright. We sat there in the voice call for a while and waited. Just waiting for the DM to show or send a message saying he couldn't make it for some odd reason. He just never showed up. We players agreed there just probably wouldn't be a session today and left. I sent the DM a private message asking if everything was okay, and he never responded to me. I have never seen him online on Discord since. I don't really know the moral of the story, if there is one. It's been almost a year to the day, and I hope with every atom of my being that the DM is okay and just ghosted us. I hope he's alive. I truly don't know, and I have no way to contact him in real life to find out. Alright, place your bets. What happened to the DM, because I have some ideas.
Oh god, I've been waiting for hours. What's our DM doing?
Meanwhile,
Oh goodness, I'm so excited for the ending of my D&D game. So excited, in fact, that I'm going to walk into the street without looking both ways. Oh my god! What has happened? Hello, traveler. You have come a long way. Wait, am I in the world of Dungeons and Dragons? You are in a vaguely generic fantasy world inspired by medieval Europe, so yes, basically the world of Dungeons and Dragons. Amazing. But my D&D group back home, will I ever see them again? No, our plot will probably not factor in your real-world friends at all. I'm sorry. Consider your D&D group forgotten. Well, at least I'll be able to fulfill my dreams in this fantasy world. What are your dreams, young man? Oh, becoming a somehow morally righteous slave owner.
Okay, maybe that's a bit unrealistic, but come on, do you have a better idea? This isn't a horror story of a bad player getting what they deserve. This is a story of a good group, good people, in just a bad situation. Had it been a player, we could just kick him out and let the situation be history. But until I get word from the Dungeon Master, I'll continue to wonder what actually happened far into the future. A horror story that shall never end. The existential crisis implications of that final bit are hilarious to me, but yeah, this sucks. I hate getting ghosted. I think a lot of people hate getting ghosted. Though I will say, I really hope the DM is alive and doesn't like turn up dead in the future, because with that skit, it would be a really bad look for me. But in any case, yeah, it sucks when people disappear on you for whatever reason. But that is one of the risks when you play with random people. I think ideally, in time, you start to get closer with the group, and if they're comfortable, have multiple avenues by which to contact them. Like, Fall Cosplay and I only know each other online, but by this point, we follow each other on Instagram, I got her on Twitter, you know, there's multiple ways for us to contact each other if we need to. So, I don't know, maybe that's a solution to your problem in the future, but obviously not everyone is comfortable with that. Yeah, you're right, I don't really know if there is a lesson. It just kinda sucks. Hey, Crispy! I'm not the donut brand, okay? It's spelled with a C!
Really, the reasons Crispy's Tavern is spelled with a C, not a K. We're not associated with a donut brand. Please don't sue us. Okay, moving on.
Been listening to you while I work on evening shifts, and a lot of these stories brought up a couple stories that I have had over my many years of playing tabletop role-playing games. I am a forever GM and enjoy being one. Sometimes I like to join games when I'm in the mood to experience the system from a player point of view to help understand the rules better. This one takes place 6 years ago. I was browsing the Roll20 ads when I saw that a group was looking for a player for the Ruins of Asland adventure path. I had been reading through that module and wanted to experience it as a player, so I signed up, got accepted, made my character, and we had a good first 2 sessions before tragedy struck. During the 3rd session, we were told by the game master that a colonist of the new settlement we were building was attacked by a horrible little naked man with gray skin and long arms, which we deduce would be a choker. Oh, that just sounds... Oh, I was expecting something a little bit more, you know, you guys have corrupted me. We had encountered one during a previous session, so it wasn't hard to figure out the creature. Anyway, we had tracked it to a well on a hill on the outskirts of the settlement, and we had made our descent into what we thought was its lair. What, is it baking a cake? Which layer of the cake is it? You know, which bit? We thought we'd be fighting it in a small cave, but it turned out there was a whole cave system under the hill. We entered the first branch of the cave, and we were jumped by a small group of dark mantles. An easy fight, we thought. Then, we go on to hunt our prey. We were wrong. The dice gods must have turned their backs on us players and heavily favored the GM that fight, because what should have been an easy, warm-up fight turned into a total party kill. Not only were myself, Fighter, and the Magus rolling horribly, our cleric was rolling low on all his channel heals to keep us alive. Meanwhile, the game master was hitting every roll with high damage on us. We were only level 2 at this point. I was panicking because I couldn't roll above a 5. My party members were panicking for the same reason, and the game master was panicking because he thought his game was going to end right there. When the TPK came, we all sat in stunned silence for a moment, even the game master. It all took us a minute before one of us said, "This never happened," to which the GM agreed, and we all agreed to rewind to the start of the dungeon. Guy just straight up reset the save. We joked that the rope broke, we banged our heads at the fall, and dreamed the whole encounter. We went on to play more, but the group fell apart due to the ever-looming doom that is scheduling. Ah yes, the true total party killer. I joked about you guys resetting the encounter before as if it's a bad thing, but honestly, it's not. If your entire group agrees that, look, this never happened, move on, that's okay, man. It's your table, do whatever you want. It's not something I would do, but I've honestly just never been in a TPK situation. I can't say exactly what I would do in your case, and hey, maybe I'd be pushed to reset the save too. Look, game balance is tough, but it's important to keep in mind that it doesn't stop when the dice hit the table. You still need to balance the encounter actively while you're playing, especially since often you don't know how things are going to play out. Ginny D has a great video that just came out like last week about preventing TPKs when stuff like this happens. I'm not going to just regurgitate all of her advice. There's a lot of good stuff in there. It's linked in the cards. If I remember to put it there, I probably won't. Hi Crispy, back at it again with another Vampire the Masquerade story. This is recent. I was invited to a vampire game, and later on, a Hunter the Gathering game. For context, in Vampire, I made a character who was, in effect, silent but deadly. In Hunter, I made the mom friend who would be reasonable and give advice and keep the group together. It was going okay until disaster struck where I was being ignored like 70% of the time, unless one of the other characters acknowledged me or something. I distinctly remember not having any opportunities to speak for 2 hours straight. Giving an impassioned speech about friendship and keeping the group together was important, and during that time, I was made out to be the villain?
Hey, you're gonna be okay, alright? Look, we're a family now, all of us. And as long as you have us, you're never— What did you say? Whoa! Okay, family. That is an offensive word in vampire culture. Seems like a very concerning culture. For your crime, you must be executed according to vampiric custom. Wait, hold on. You delay the inevitable. No, I'm just curious. Like, if you're a vampire, where are your fangs? Oh, well, the tavern just doesn't— Crispy doesn't have the budget for that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it is what it is, yeah.
And to top off all that, being yelled at by both the players and the NPCs in character, that was just a common occurrence for me. I feel like the other players weren't treated as rashly as I constantly was. I don't know how hosting games usually goes, but I imagine that the storyteller has to play or set things up so that everyone's character has a purpose in the story. I felt like my character had virtually no part in any of it. When I told the storyteller, the game master, that I'd no longer be participating because of what was previously mentioned, he just gave a generic, "Okie dokie, have fun at another game." A player from the Vampire the Masquerade game then messaged me concerned, and I told her everything. And she said, "Well, must be inconvenient timing because we just got to our first combat last session." We have been playing for 4 weeks, 1 session per week. And the one game I don't show up to, turns out they had a session and did stuff that my character would have been good at, where my character would have been important. I told them that this just proves my point. I'm asking if I'm the a-hole here because I'm not a seasoned TTRPG player yet, and I've only done one-shots before as a storyteller. Was it possible that I was being too brash? Alright, let's get into it. Drum roll, please. Not the a-hole, obviously. Yeah, these guys may not be the worst group ever, but this is a story about being excluded from the game. I don't know if it's because they don't like your character or because they don't like you as a player, but it doesn't really matter. You have all the right in the world to leave the game. I mean, it's great that they had a session miraculously after you left where your character would have had fun, but you played with them for 4 weeks. That's 4 sessions, a whole month. You gave them a chance and it didn't work out. You have every right in the world to just walk away from the game. You don't need to stay if you're not having a good time. Alright, the cast. Artificer as the problem player, Paladin as me, Girlfriend as just Girlfriend. She was a Paladin too, but this is simpler. Druid as a new player, and DM as the DM. Druid and I met Artificer in person for the first time when we finally got to meet up with Girlfriend, a person we don't get to see often. She's the Artificer's girlfriend, he is her boyfriend. Artificer was the one who drove her down to us, so that's essentially how we met him. We hung out in a cute little D&D shop, ate some popcorn, and played games there while we caught up. Artificer was really just odd. He would chat with us if we prompted him, but he sort of just sat in silence. Normally, I wouldn't judge. After all, I love to just sit and listen to people.
Hey, you have your hobbies, okay?
But this dude was also uninterested in playing the games there. For example, Artificer refused to play because he couldn't be the specific role he wanted, even though the point was that the roles were random and had to be kept hidden. It didn't help the fact that he called COVID-19 a conspiracy theory and seemed oddly eager to theorize. We also just got controlling vibes from him, but we held our tongue for our friend's sake. Fast forward a few months, and girlfriend tells us Artificer is interested in joining our ongoing campaign. It was a Spelljammer story, I believe, and we were around 7th level, if my memory serves right. I honestly could not really get a read on Artificer, so even if I was nervous about him joining, I was giving him the benefit of the doubt. Druid and my other friend felt uncomfortable bringing this up to the DM because at the time, we assumed these people were friends. It was also our first time dealing with a situation where a problem player could pop up, because despite having around 7 players, we're all in the same friend group. Druid was finally joining us as well because their schedule finally opened up, and I think we were all just focusing on why we love D&D so much rather than focusing on Artificer's problems. So the session started with Druid getting a banger of an introduction because we were in space. Our DM used an NPC similar to the King in Yellow to make Druid show up at our ship. Not only did this hint at their backstory, but this NPC was really terrifying to our party. So we had a good reason to have Druid stick around for a bit. Suffice to say, this was one of the only good things in the session, so let's buckle in for it. Myself, another character, and an NPC spot Artificer on a hovercraft surrounded by an asteroid field. No idea why he's there. He was sharing a mic with girlfriend that night because they were in a hotel due to travel. It sounded like he was eating his microphone, so it was very difficult to make out exactly what he was saying to us. Oh my god, I freaking hate when people do that. The first thing he does when he sees us is aim his cannon at us. We get a bit startled and take out our weapons as well, and we say we come in peace. Apparently this wasn't the right thing to do, as Artificer ignored what we said and went, "Why are you aiming your weapons at me? Who are you?" We tried to explain that it seemed like he was going to attack us, and once again explained we are coming in peace. This started an hour-long exchange of us just trying to get this guy on the ship. The only reason DM didn't force him or anything was because he wanted this team up to be something Artificer wanted. But DM admitted he didn't like how long he let it drag out. Finally, Artificer decides to board our ship for the greater good, and we got to move on. In this session, we were looking for a map, so we take travel time to properly roleplay. We're having a lot of good fun when we see girlfriend's profile on Discord mute, and she sends a message in the group chat. It says, "Sorry, we're dealing with cockroaches in our room. Artificer isn't happy about that." After a few minutes, she unmutes, and DM asks if she's alright to keep playing. Girlfriend says yes, but Artificer keeps talking about sleeping in the car because she can't get the hotel workers to work faster. She sounds very tired after dealing with that. I'm pretty sure she hates bugs too, at least from what it sounded like. But Artificer was doing nothing but blaming her. I don't know, man. I like it when cockroaches show up. Gives me a chance. I've always wanted to do this. Anyway, during the cockroach debacle, this was the last time she actually got to talk that session because Artificer was also being sort of a mic hog as well. After our roleplay is done, girlfriend told us to just continue ahead because they were waiting for room service, the dungeon master decides it's time for a random encounter to spice things up. I was a bit nervous about getting into combat again because I almost lost my paladin in the last session to a space shark that ate him alive, but I figured things would go fine. Well, I hear the DM say, "Oh my," and pause for a while. We asked what was up, and the DM explained that he rolled a tough encounter. Not enough to TPK us, but a challenge, and he was hoping to push the story along. We decided to see what he rolled, and along comes a person in plate armor riding a green dragon, quickly approaching us. I think for a moment before remembering we have an ally NPC who turned his ship invisible when we first met him, so I asked DM, "Hey, can that NPC turn our ship invisible?" DM says he can do that, and while he's talking, Artificer cuts him off and says, "I'm aiming my cannon." Myself and a couple others scream no and urge him not to shoot the oncoming dragon. The DM ignores Artificer and says the plan works, and we skip the encounter. Towards the end of the session, we land on this beautiful jungle-like planet where the NPC we need to meet is stranded. I could sort of tell the DM was cutting this shorter because of how much time the Artificer wasted beforehand. Chaos erupts as these mole-like creatures spring from the earth and we have to fight them. Our wizard was up first. We all sort of coordinated that we didn't want a forest fire to wreck this planet. This is something we've done before because of our ranger, who is closely connected to nature. It's out of respect for the character, and we got druid too, so we don't want to burn things just for the hell of it. Artificer is up next though, and preps a fireball, and our wizard tells him, "Hey, we're trying not to start a forest fire. Don't do that." Dude, when the wizard is saying don't cast fireball, you should really consider listening. But Artificer just straight up ignores him and launches the fireball, creates a forest fire, and then he said something like, "I cast levitate and save the VIP," and proceeds to fly back to the ship on the hovercraft from earlier. But like, I mean, how high does levitate go? Oh yeah, dude. Yeah. That's not getting you over a forest fire.
Fools! I will escape this forest while you will burn. Levitate! I'm not going up very fast. Oh god. Oh, I'm catching on fire. Oh my god! I'm on fire!
Anyway, he proceeded to fly back to the ship on the hovercraft from earlier. We finished the encounter, and DM retconned the fire because we were all pissed. He told Artificer in private messages that he was not welcome in the group anymore. Don't worry, the girlfriend was 100% on our side and believed he was in the wrong too. In our next session, we tossed him off the ship. I should bring up that after this, we learned the DM was in fact not friends with Artificer and loathed him. The only real reason we assumed they were friends was because they both liked Warhammer, and we saw them in voice chat together every now and then. He told us next time just reach out and tell him if we're uncomfortable with something, as a lot of people were uncomfortable too. I still feel a bit guilty that I let myself be so non-confrontational about this, because otherwise this whole mess could have been avoided. Unfortunately, there is a bit more. One detail I neglected to add until now was that Artificer was the admin of the server. We felt a looming presence over us because we were the only active table on the server, and a couple weeks after, we booed him from the personal server for, let's just say, extremely inappropriate info dumping about his political beliefs that escalated into extreme territory. There's a joke here about Warhammer. Somewhere. I'm not gonna say it, but I'm thinking it, and you're thinking it too! A lot of us felt irrationally afraid that he would just one day decide to delete the server, so we made a new server. DM was a champ who transferred everything, including artwork, character sheets, and even information for the ongoing campaigns. Due to Artificer going off to the military, we hadn't had a chance to worry about him for a while, but we stay in the new server just to start fresh. The story doesn't have a happy ending for the old server. When Artificer returned from the military, he randomly decided to break things off with his girlfriend.
I don't blame him. He cheated on you.
The military.
For sure. He definitely went to
The military.
and then like hooked up with some other girl and thought instead of telling her I'm gonna just break up with her and justified it.
I'm gonna throw up! Are you serious? Wait, stop!
On the good side, she's been doing a lot better now. I find this odd because girlfriend specifically said a long time ago that if Artificer nuked the server, it would be the straw that broke the camel's back. It felt very deliberate. He asked if it was still active. One person responded no, and then out of the blue, he sends a timestamp in military time. That was when he deleted the server. After consulting with a friend, we realized the day he nuked the server was the day we kicked him out from the group. Maybe it was because it was inactive, but I still can't shake the feeling that it was to spite us, and to spite girlfriend. It's a bit sad knowing that my first D&D server is just gone. Moral of the story here, don't sugarcoat how you feel about someone you're not vibing with, because you're likely not alone. Am I the only one who just doesn't feel any sentimental attachment to Discord servers? Like, at all? Like, if it's inactive and I'm not using it, delete it! Get it out of my inventory! It's taking up space. Anyway, this is a player who really wants to get other people killed, and himself killed, apparently. Not only does this person attempt to initiate a lot of PvP-esque encounters, even ending the story with straight up attempting to murder the rest of the party with a forest fire, but also this person makes constant dumb and bad decisions that make the game less fun. I've talked before about how player agency is really important, but player agency is not the end-all be-all of the game. fun is. And if your player agency makes the game less fun for the other players or the DM, you're making decisions that should not be allowed at the table, player agency or no. Your freedom to be an asshole is not more important than other people's freedom to have a good time at the board game they're playing for fun. I'm glad that in the end you guys got out of the social trap though. These sort of situations are always just so awkward when you have a tight friend group and you gotta kick out one person, but you know, it worked out for you here. So yeah, maybe there is some hope. Hey, that's a wrap. If you guys enjoyed, then you might enjoy our podcast with Fall Cosplay. We told possibly the most unhinged horror story about someone who tried to hypnotize her into romance. It's linked in the cards, at the end, and in the description. But before you go, please do leave a like on this one and subscribe to Crispy's Tavern so you don't miss any of our content as it comes out. And finally, if you want to leave your own stories or thoughts, go down in the comments down below. If you can't think of a comment, leave the comment, "Don't shoot the dragon," to let me know you made it to the end of the video. Hey, by the way, if you have your own horror stories, you can send them directly to us. There's an email down in the description down below. Send your stories our way for a chance to be featured in one of these videos. But hey, even if you don't have any stories, in essence, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you all next time. Farewell.
Ow.